It's Saturday, December 6th, 2025, and we've got a lot of crazy weather to talk about with another big Arctic blast on the way, more heavy snow, and all kinds of fun or not so fun winter stuff. So let's get right into it. Starting off today, where we have a slight risk of minor impacts from a winter storm in South Dakota, Iowa, southern portions of Minnesota, over into Wisconsin, northern Illinois. This includes Sioux Falls, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Rockford, not quite over to Milwaukee and Chicago, but I think you guys are going to get some snow out of this. And then, of course, up to La Crosse. Get ready for a big time burst of snow and cold today. Here's what the radar could look like as we go into the future. This is going to be around noon to 1 p.m. or so. We're going to have moderate to heavy snow stretching from central South Dakota all the way down towards Omaha and western portions of Iowa. The heaviest snow at this point will be between Sioux City and Sioux Falls. Watch what happens as I push this towards 3 p.m. It's still going to be snowing quite heavily, potentially between Sioux City and Sioux Falls, and some of that pretty intense snowfall is going to be working its way into Fort Dodge, Storm Lake, the Highway 20 corridor over there. And then, yes, it will start snowing at least lightly to moderately around this time in Des Moines and up and down the I-35 corridor. Also, get ready in Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, and Rochester. By 7 p.m., we will at least have moderate snow over here. And I think that Minneapolis up here, I think that you guys are probably going to miss out on the heaviest snow. Most of that's going to be down to your south, but there's a good chance that Davenport, maybe even Madison, Wisconsin, and Chicago get a nice thumping of snow, especially in Chicago between 11 p.m. tonight and maybe 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Your Sunday morning commute might actually be pretty rough in Chicago if the HRRR is right here. Now, this is honestly one of the more southern looking tracks that I've seen. I think a lot of the models are showing a little bit more of a northern trajectory on this storm, so we'll see if the HRRR is correct here, but I do think that Chicago is a shoe-in for some travel problems on Sunday morning. And then as this thing continues to go to the east around 11 a.m. tomorrow, we will have some snow in Fort Wayne up to Detroit and Cleveland and Toronto, but the farther east this goes, the weaker it gets, and it kind of just fans out. So I'm not expecting terribly significant accumulations in Ohio or Pennsylvania or even really Indiana out of this. Maybe some in western and southwestern portions of Michigan, but the bullseye area is going to be right over here. And you can see that pretty clearly here on the national blend of models as far as the total expected snowfall goes. Someone over here in northwestern Iowa is going to see 6 inches of snow, maybe even more. And remember, this is a blend of all the models, right? And this is showing quite a bit more of a northernly track than what we just looked at on the HRRR. So it is possible that the heaviest snow axis actually shifts south about 50 miles here, and that would actually put Chicago in the line of fire for maybe 3 inches of snow by the time this is all said and done. But Des Moines, 2 to 4 inches, 3 to 6 is going to be possible. Cedar Rapids, 3 to 6 inches is going to be possible as well. So make sure you are ready for that. Now, what's going to happen is behind this little clipper system, we are going to get another blast of cold Arctic air. And this time I want to show you what this is going to look like with the winds, because we're actually going to have some pretty intense winds gusting 30 to 40, maybe even 50 miles per hour behind this thing. And that's going to bring the temperatures tomorrow morning with the wind chill down to negative 22, negative 25 maybe up here around western portions of Minnesota. We're going to be in the negative teens in South Dakota. We're going to be below zero with the winds even down into southern portions of Iowa. And this is some really intense cold that's going to be spreading even farther south, maybe into Kansas, where we're going to be around 15 degrees with the wind. We'll be up there in the upper 20s in northern Oklahoma. And even over here in the northeast, upstate New York, we're going to be in the teens. Upstate Maine, we're going to be talking about near zero. So this lobe of cold air here is going to try to squeeze down to the south and east a little bit. But as the snow weakens, this intensity with the cold air is going to weaken as well. So we don't expect this to be as intense as the last Arctic blast as far as how far south and how far east it goes. But unfortunately, we're not done yet. And we're about to dive so much deeper into that. But first, let's shout out today's awesome sponsor. Delete Me, your data is yours again. It's no secret that I'm online a lot, and that means my personal info is out there too. And it's not just mine, it's yours. You're online right now. I see you. Turns out there are entire websites called data brokers that collect and sell your info. We're talking about your name, your address, phone numbers, and anybody can buy it. Whoever wants wants it. And that kind of stuff can expose you to scams, spams, and identity theft. And all this stuff is why I started using today's sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service that removes your personal information from hundreds of data broker and people search websites. And they don't outsource the job. They handle it safely themselves. And then they send you a privacy report so you can see exactly what's been found and what actions have been taken. Wirecutter even named Delete Me the #1 data removal service, so you don't have to just take my word for it. So if you want to try this out for yourself, I highly recommend it. There's a link at the top of the description, or you can go to joindeleteme.com/Ryan Hall and use the code Ryan Hall, and that's going to get you 20% off Delete Me consumer plans. Once again, that's joindeleteme.com/Ryan Hall. There's a link at the top of the description, and make sure you use that code Ryan Hall for 20% off those Delete Me consumer plans. You're going to love it. All right, now let's get back into the forecast. So after this little clipper system gets out of our hair, our next area of interest is going to shift over here to the Pacific Northwest, where we're going to have some heavy rain and some gusty snow, especially in the higher elevations over here in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho and Montana. And what's going to happen is a pretty potent low pressure system is going to spin out over the northern Rockies and make its way into the plains and really kind of maintain some significant strength as it comes down into North Dakota and Minnesota. This is a powerful clipper. So what we're talking about today into tomorrow is a regular little clipper. All right. This one is a powerhouse and could cause intermittent blizzard conditions on the eastern side here, as we've got a 983 millibar low pressure center around Tuesday, bringing a heavy band of snow into Minnesota. This one could slap Minneapolis, for example. This one could drop significant snow in northern portions of Minnesota. And then, of course, the UP of Michigan and even the rest of Michigan could get in on some significant snow on this, maybe as we get into Wednesday. Now, the thing that's going to make this a little bit less impactful is its speed. It's going to be racing down to the south and east. It's also going to be sort of weakening as it goes farther east. So you can see how the low pressure system is unwinding and the precipitation is kind of fanning out a little bit as we go into Thursday. So that's something that we've got to keep in mind. But man, this looks like it's going to be a powerhouse of a storm for North Dakota and Minnesota here as we go into Tuesday. And if we go all the way out to Wednesday with our snow totals, you can see here that there's going to be some places that pick up maybe more than 5 inches of snow just from that quick hitting clipper up here in Minnesota. There's going to be some places that get maybe 8 inches of snow in Wisconsin. I see some totals up here around 9 inches in northern portions of Michigan. So keep that in mind. Also, southern Ontario, there's going to be some places, especially just east of the lakes, that will pick up on a foot of snow out of this. And, you know, there's going to be some decent lake effect and lake enhanced snow in upstate New York and northwestern portions of Pennsylvania as well. But as you can tell, the interior northeast isn't going to be hit as hard by these clippers as the Great Lakes area. And I just want to mention it once again, man, our winter forecast has been really spot on so far. So if you've watched that video, just know a lot of work went into that, and we weren't just talking completely out our butts there. I'm really happy with how our winter forecast is going so far. We've been right on cue here. All right, so let's keep going even farther into the future here, and we will potentially have another powerful clipper to track as we go into Thursday and Friday. But the main thing that I'm concerned about with this is not necessarily the precipitation. It is the next big Arctic blast that we're potentially looking at here. Look at this. The 540 line could be plumb all the way down to Birmingham, Alabama, as we go into about a week from now on Saturday, December 13th. If we actually see this, this will lead to the coldest air of the season so far. And I know I've said that so many times, but you know, it's going to continue to be true until we start warming up a little bit. But man, this one would be a brutal blast of significant cold air if we actually saw this happen. Here's what that looks like on the temperature anomaly map. Once again, this is about a week out. I'm not going to talk about this too much because it could definitely change, but man, we could be talking about a widespread 30 degrees below average temperature area here from the northern plains all the way down into the Ohio Valley, and even the deep south is going to be pretty frigid if we actually see this much cold air make it down. My goodness, look at that. So by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday of next week, we could be talking about some record-breaking cold, even all the way down there into Florida. So if this signal holds, this is definitely going to become our main story that we talk about here. I'll probably wait and make sure it's still there tomorrow before I start hooting and hollering about this too much. But my goodness, the cold is just going to keep on coming. And if you're not prepared for it, if you've been surprised by it in some of these recent Arctic outbreaks, just know this one's going to be even worse if it actually comes to fruition. And just a little teaser here, this is what some of the temperatures could look like Saturday morning, next Saturday morning, if we actually get a cold blast of this magnitude. This is with the wind chill, negative 40 degrees below zero. This is not below average. This is below zero with the wind up here in North and South Dakota. We're talking about 25 degrees below zero in Des Moines. We're talking about 10 to 11 degrees below zero in St. Louis. We're talking about temperatures right at 0 degree to -1 in Clarksville, Tennessee. How about -10 in Lexington, Kentucky? And you can see right here, this is the 0 degree area. Everybody in there is going to be freezing their butts off if we actually get a cold blast of this magnitude. So once again, this is with the wind chill, so keep that in mind, and also just know that this could be coming. You heard it here first. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Once again, we're tracking that storm today. We've got one tomorrow. We got another one coming Tuesday. After that, things become a little bit more blurry, but they are concerning. So stay tuned. Like and subscribe. If you want to see my next update, we'll probably have daily videos, honestly, if we are actually going to be tracking a cold blast of this magnitude coming up next week. So subscribe, turn notifications on, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.